Hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest two-way propaganda. While state infringements may vary, here in America, a man is theoretically free to bear arms on his own property at the very least. Or at least that's what we tell ourselves, but I keep finding examples to challenge that notion. Because 78-year-old Earl Harris found out the hard way he does not have a right to bear arms on his own property when he was arrested and convicted for holding an unloaded shotgun. Well, technically, he was convicted of aggravated interference with the conduct of public business in a public building.
And is he at home?
He is.
On his property. Outdoors. Nowhere near any public buildings. See, what happened was the city decided to dig a ditch on his property, and Harris didn't like that, so he sat on a stool holding an unloaded shotgun.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Although he never threatened anyone, the city workers panicked and hid behind cars until the cops came. The prosecutor claimed the statute still applies to government workers outside a government building, even though it doesn't actually mention workers and explicitly specifies in a building. Mr. Harris is now appealing his conviction. What do you folks think? Now, obviously, the fact the shotgun was unloaded is irrelevant. Nobody else could have known that. But does the mere possession of a gun while expressing a negative thought rise to the level of a threat? At what point does having a gun rise to the level of implied threat? I would love to hear your opinions down below.
Denial, anger, internet commenting.
But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality two-way propaganda without sponsors. So let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Vortex.
Vortex just added a new solar-powered closed emitter version of the ST to their Defender line of micro red dots. Like the rest of the Vortex Defender line, the new enclosed ST features a constant on emitter with no flicker and shake awake, so it's always ready. It also doesn't drain the battery in daylight and has a convenient side-mounted battery. Find out more in the doobly-doo.
Once again, I'd like to draw your attention to two men who were each sentenced to less time than Matt Hoover and Chris Irvin got. Hoover got 5 years and Irvin got 5 years and 8 months, and all they had was a drawing of a machine gun part that wasn't even to scale.
It's about the hypocrisy.
The Coast Guard caught Quan Tran with a half-dozen actual no-shooty-shoot machine guns and a couple of whisper pickles, and he was only sentenced to 1 year.
Hypocrisy.
Devorian Fleming got 3 years for participating in a glicky-switchy distribution ring, but Jeremiah Deering managed to get sentenced to just a bit more time than Chris Irvin. What sort of heinous deeds does it take to match up to having a picture of a machine gun? Well, first of all, he's from Lawton, Oklahoma, so you know he's a criminal. If any of y'all did time at Fort Sill, you know what I'm talking about.
Examples of America at its finest.
But apparently what Deering did do was to display a Draco on a video call to a jail inmate and flash a whole bunch of gang signs. Now I gotta pause here for a sec because on the one hand, you have to acknowledge the monumental stupidity of not knowing that the jail monitors those calls, and on the other hand, I believe his First and Second Amendment rights protect this behavior. After all, he wasn't the guy in jail, but the deputies didn't see it that way and got a search warrant because he was under 21 at the time, and it is illegal for adults under 21 to carry a handgun in Oklahoma. Now, to be clear, the U.S. Attorney's Office press release doesn't say where he was when he was on that video call, but given he was waving an AK pistol around, it probably wasn't Starbucks. And the warrant wasn't for Starbucks either, it was for his house. So far as I know, there isn't a state in the country where it is unlawful for an adult to possess a handgun in his own home. So call me a gun rights extremist, but I don't think that warrant should have been issued in the first place. It's irrelevant at this point because they did get a warrant and they found a switch along with 100 fentanyl pills. Wait, 92 fentanyl pills.
That seems like an odd number.
Nope. No, this motherfucker's fine.
So I guess you could say a single glicky switch is enough to warrant the same punishment as a drawing of a machine gun if the feds hate you enough and you have a really shitty lawyer. Senator James Risch out of Idaho wants to ban bans, or at least that's what the bill he sponsored seems like it would do. It's supposed to ban capacity-based restrictions on magazines. So if I'm understanding it correctly, mag bans in authoritarian states like California and Colorado would be rendered invalid all at once, ending what I consider to be the most troublesome of the common infringements in a single blow.
Take them down, Cappy.
Now, Congress obviously has the authority to do that, and I submit the Constitution already does ban this sort of ban. If it passed, it would be an enormous help for our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. But I'm having a hard time getting fired up for this bill. I don't know, maybe I should be more excited about SB 2813. Maybe you should call over it, but it's co-sponsored by Mike Lee and Lindsey Graham, among others. I know that alone doesn't make it bad, but I haven't forgotten how Senate Republicans screwed gun owners with a big bloated spending bill, so I don't see any timeline where they play this anywhere close to straight.
You lied to me, you lied to me, you lied to me.
The blue flavor can filibuster, and I just don't see this actually passing, despite the red flavor holding a majority in both houses and really wanting us to think they're pro-gun. Now, before I give you that moment of zen I know you're waiting for, I wanted to let you know we have completely redesigned the forum. Now, I'm not allowed to tell you the URL where ARFCOM lives because the tube of views has no limit for its contempt for you, but it's easy to find if you type ARFCOM into a search engine. I think you'll like the new, cleaner look, and we added quite a few features as well. If you have never visited ARFCOM before, well, it is, no kidding, the biggest firearm community on the internet. If you need to know which obscure rail will clear your limited can with the smallest, tiniest little possible gap, you'll find the answer in ARFCOM. You don't need a paid account to read or post, but it occurred to me the other day that we don't use a crowdfunding site like most other channels. And rather than give a cut to a potentially anti-gun company like Patreon, if you think what we're doing is good for the country and you want to help us keep doing it by flipping us a few quatloos, the absolute best way to donate to us is to buy a team membership, which gives you access to exclusive areas. But here I am going on about us when you want that moment of zen.
Yannick makes a solid gun, but every Yannick guy says it's as good as a Colt, which is kind of like saying Taco Bell's as good as Mexico. Next! Colt, the faded rock star of handguns, built the American gun myth and then spent the last 50 years living off royalty checks. Colt guys love to say they don't make them like they used to, which is good, because if they did, you'd remember how often they jammed. FN shoots great, but so do a dozen guns that don't cost a month's rent. Buying one's like rolling a Ferrari in Houston traffic. Yeah, it'll go 200 miles an hour, but you're still gonna be stuck beside a Kia Soul and a Buc-ee's billboard. Sig Sauer, beautiful trigger, laser accurate, liable to go off if you sneeze. Sig guys strut like they're fresh off a SEAL Team 6-op, but really they're just trying not to ND in a Bass Pro parking lot. Wilson Combat, these ain't pistols, this is jewelry. Perfect, flawless, and useless the second you're scared to holster it without a microfiber cloth. And one day your kids are gonna pawn it for DoorDash money.
Hello, friend. Do you like pews and pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure American pew propaganda at the low, low price of free? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.